Hello. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Chicagoland. We got a lot of snow last night, but the sun is out. And I have moved to the table today to work and just soak up the sun. Oh, it's glorious. So, I wanted to share a little bit today about how we do some healing on an individual level. And I made another video about healing individually versus collectively recently. So that's on my YouTube channel if you want to go take a look. And as the next several months, as truth starts to come out to the population around the world, a lot of people are going to be triggered. Well, not a lot, everybody. Even if you've been doing your own work for many, many years, looking at your wounds, looking at the things that come up for you, we're all going to be triggered because so much has been kept from us. And it will be very important to stay grounded, calm, in your body as much as possible. Do your meditation, talk to people, don't isolate, and allow the healing to happen. Seek out people who can help you, whether it's a mental health professional, an energy healer, intuitive healer, whoever it is that you require as the truth starts to come out will be extremely important. So honor that. When we talk about wounds and things that trigger us and what comes up, I've always said healing is like peeling an onion. There's so many layers. And even with one topic that comes up, there are still a lot of layers. And often we don't think about it. We just say, okay, this is what the issue is. So let's just clear this, get rid of it, look at it, whatever, and we move on. But later, if we're paying attention, other layers will come up, deeper issues around this. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. First, in 2014, I released 2 books in the Stories of the Lost series. And the second book was called The Tiger's Widow, about Virginia Brauch, who took up her husband's fight. Her husband was Robert Brauch. He was one of the original Flying Tigers with the American Volunteer Group. And 3 weeks after they got married, he died in a plane crash. And she saw it happen as he was training pilots. When I wanted to write her story, because she ended up joining the Women's Army Corps to take up his fight the minute she turned 21. She said, like a lot of veterans do, especially women, I didn't do anything. I wasn't on the front lines with a gun. And so what is there to say? So I told her, well, this book will go into my series, The Stories of the Lost. And the word lost can mean many things. Sometimes we say, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind because my kids are driving me crazy, or I've lost my car keys, or hey, I just lost weight, or I've lost my way. It can mean many different things. But in the context of World War II and what I was creating and trying to convey through lessons and words in these books was, for the generation of World War II, lost didn't just mean one side won the war, the other side lost. It also meant for her that she lost her husband of 3 weeks, a man she was deeply in love with and really wanted to create a future with. My grandmother basically lost her husband when he went off to war. She was left at home with 3 children. My dad came after the war when he was home. And because of his war wounds, he spent the rest of his life in a VA hospital. So my grandmother basically lost him when he went to war. My uncles and my dad basically lost their father. My cousins who fought in World War I, World War II, who died, also lost the chance of maybe falling in love, traveling, going to college. I know one of them had just started college when he was drafted. To lose the dreams that you created for your life. So lost in that sense can mean so many different things. And you can also take it down through the generations because we inherit a lot of that trauma and loss. So I lost a lot of information about my grandparents, and especially my grandfather, because he died way before I was born. But also because nobody would talk about him, because there was so much shame and guilt and grief around the war and what happened afterward. So it isn't just about one generation or one family member or one group of people. It affects everybody. Another example I'll give you, in my Your Family's War Journey class last night, we discussed abandonment. And abandonment is a core wound. And often we associate abandonment with my father ran off with somebody else or left the family, or my mother ran off with somebody else and left the family. And now we have been abandoned. Or my birth parents didn't want me and they gave me up for adoption, so I've been abandoned. But again, there are many layers to this. So in the story that we read, Reconciliation with War, there is the author Janelle who marries a Dutch Jew who's come to America after the war. She thinks that she is moving on from her family, from her father's war wounds that she couldn't identify, couldn't verbalize, but she was tired of the trauma, drama, everything that was happening at home. But she married somebody with very similar wounds. Now, this husband that she had was taken from his family. The parents were sent to a camp. He and his brother were separated in the Netherlands during the war, and each put into a different house, and they didn't see each other until the end of the war. They were given new names. So they kind of lost their identity. They lost their family. So they're being abandoned by their country. They're being abandoned by their family, not by choice. They've been abandoned as far as their name and identity, again, not by choice. Then, after the war, the Dutch families reunited the boys and they ended up emigrating to the United States. So they've lost their country. They're in a brand new country. And the whole family situation changed. And what they knew was now abandoned, gone, and showing up in a different way. So there are many layers to that. So I invite you, as you start to do your healing work, and especially as the truth comes out over the next several months and you are triggered, get your journal out, start journaling, do some meditation, look at the different layers of every topic that's coming up. Because if it's coming up, it's not just one layer normally. There are usually a few, and it takes time to allow the processing and integration of that so that they can leave and that you can heal that part of yourself. And I think most of us are going to start to feel things in our body, feel different emotions, feel aches and pains or just discomfort because frozen parts of us that have been repressed for years, maybe even most of our lives, are going to start to unfreeze as not only we start to heal, but the collective wakes up on a new level. We see through the lies, and we have to reconcile what is true for us in this moment. So I invite you to sit with that, think about it, meditate, journal, whatever you need to do. Change is coming, and we are all being asked to step into our individual healing. I love you all. Have a beautiful day.